Greetings, everyone. This is your friendly neighborhood hipster snack, and today I am very pleased with Shovel and Necronomicon in hand that I am reviving the Tomodachi Bros Review Podcast. But I am not alone.
Nice, rub your glaive.
That's right. That's right. And I am not alone in this venture. Today I have 5, yes, count them, 5 of the Tomodachi Bros, counting myself, of the total 7. So we're just going to go in order, and in case you guys forgot who we are, which is entirely possible, let's start with our good buddy Clockwork Fiction.
I told you guys I wanted RGBs around my coffin. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, those cost like $15. You think we have that kind of money?
Hi, my name is Clockwork Fiction. I am a local arcade enthusiast. I love arcades, and I am a big video gamer.
All right. No, that's why he and I get along so well, you see.
Mm-hmm.
Next is, of course, our sound engineer, all-around certified smart guy, and only guy among us who has a life, Cog.
Hello, everyone. This is Cog, part-time contributor, full-time editor guy. I helped Snack mostly on his voiceover videos specifically, and some of the podcasts and special videos. And then I also enjoy gaming and various media of sorts, and I've known these guys for quite a long time. And yeah, I do have a life. I'm the only one here that I believe is married and has a child, so that's that. So I'm probably the most normie of the group at the moment, but you know, it is what it is. I like my job. I'm actually I do audio visual engineering full time, so it's my day job. Yeah, so that's me.
Yep,
Thanks.
That's why we count on him so much. So next
What
up,
is it like, this life that you speak of?
Wow. Wow.
You know,
Wow.
at least he owns the normie label, and to that I cannot. I
used to be offended by it. I used to be like, oh, I'm not a normie. I'm not gonna take it.
I'm not a normie.
I'm just like, you know what?
Pardon me, guys.
You know what? I don't care anymore. It really, like, no, I don't.
No, you own it. You're honest about it, and that matters a lot more. Being in denial is much more ugly. And next up is a man who has helped me in many videos, and you might know him as the strange potato cat man thing, Ditaku.
Ooh. Yes, it's me, Itaku. I am often here. I am a historian by training, a writer by impulse, and a cynic just by habit. So,
well said. Well said, sir. Well said. And next, we have what for you guys may well be your first time experiencing him. So please, I was about to say round of applause, but we're not live. So instead, leave a comment down below telling us who has the coolest voice as I introduce Noodle.
Hello. I'm Noodle. I unfortunately had to dig all of these unfortunate souls from their shallow graves for this resurrection.
Bro,
yes,
I don't have arms.
Yes, that is very unfortunate for you. Yeah, but yes, I'm Noodle. I am Tomo Bro, actual IRL for realsies bro to Jitaku, and the resident strategy gaming expert on the channel. So if there's a strategy game that you ever see the Snack play, I was probably the person who recommended it for him.
That is true facts. So you guys also at home might have a few questions because the title of this video is Season 3, Episode 1. And you might go through my playlists and go, golly, Snick, I see a Season 1, but I don't see a Season 2. It's coming soon.
Yes.
Coming soon, trademark, registered, copyright, LLC, all rights reserved, etc.
No. See, we need to lean into it. It's like a David Lynch thing. Okay. All right.
There is no Season 2.
It's not because of production. It's an artistic statement.
Yes. That's yes. Okay, it's avant-garde to put.
Let me put this forward. This is our third format adjustment. So this is we've been doing a lot of experimenting and testing. Let's put it that way too.
Right.
We've been figuring out how we've been wanting to go about this whole process.
The artistic expression of fashionably.
It turned out trying to go really big on season 2 was just not well, when everybody has day jobs and things, it's a bit challenging. So, but season 2 is almost ready. There's only maybe 2 more episodes to get prepped, and then those episodes will probably be coming out at some point. But we decided, what the heck, we're going to just keep moving forward with our new season 3 format. So hopefully everybody enjoys it.
Because what we're doing now is we're actually going to corral the cats a little bit, and we are going to try to make this a regular staple of the channel once again. This time it's going to be a little more freeform, it's going to be a little more loosey-goosey, and we're going to figure this out kind of as we go, but we're still going to keep in the same basic purview. Instead of spending a lot of hours watching 52 episodes so that we can comment on, anime that we really like, or anime flavor of the week, or what have you, we're instead going to do things a little bit more in presentation format or by topic. So leave your comments down below on what you think at the end of this episode, and we're going to dive in first with some recent gaming news. And I guess I'll spearhead this because I'm very excited that they announced two new Rune Factory games, Rune Factory 6 and Rune Factory Project Dragon, which is going to apparently take place in the faraway nation somewhere in the Far East that always has someone from said nation in every Rune Factory game. And we're totally not saying it's Japan, but it's definitely Japan.
And they're probably going to be all furries.
It's interesting. I could have sworn I told you about Rune Factory 6. I think I posted that from the thing
you did
on Twitter, but I didn't hear about the second one.
You did, but a friend of mine, another friend, who actually did a very small bit part in the second April Fool's sketch, or the third rather, told me about Project Dragon, which apparently means that I guess Marvelous has decided to run with it, and I hope they do a good job. Because while I liked Rune Factory 5, it was a little bit underwhelming. The Rune Factory 4 was just amazing, and I love Tides of Destiny despite it being a huge grindy slog. So here's hoping for the future of the franchise, especially since we were in limbo for such a long time when the original studio closed.
Was it Zax?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, he keeps abreast of these things too. And another thing I'm excited for was they announced finally got around to showing a trailer for Alan Wake 2, which it took you guys long enough.
I was about to say, didn't they already do that with Control? Isn't that Alan Wake 2?
Control happens in the same universe, but in a different portion of it. Control is basically like their universe's version of the SCP Foundation minus all the idiots and BS that they routinely have to deal with. And it's more of a guidance story if you're really only interested in the Alan Wake bits. What about you guys?
SCP minus all.
I was going to say, because I remember a lot of people, I never played Control. I wanted to. I just haven't had a chance really to from all the other games I have on my list. I remember a lot of people talking about there's a lot of Alan Wake references to Control because of its connections and everything. I don't remember when Control actually takes place, though. I probably heard it a couple times, but I don't remember exactly when it takes between it. And I wonder...
It happens after American Nightmare, which was...
And I do wonder where this one will be set in, because it seems like it's a lot of time has passed since the first or the second one, at least.
Without getting into the spoiler territory, Alan Wake and its DLC follow-up, American Nightmare, end on a huge cliffhanger. So there's really no telling.
Interesting.
So, what about you guys?
But does Alan Wake ride around on a skateboard in order to solve murder mysteries while there's continuously the same guy who just seems to show up in different areas, and you're like, I swear, I saw you three streets down. How are you in front of me? And they're like, no.
No, I'm totally a different guy. What are you talking about?
Deadly Premonition 2, man.
It's one heck of a drug.
Yeah.
So what about you guys? What gaming news has you guys all excited recently?
I'm sure. Well, Street Fighter 6, of course, me being the fighting game person of everything, and it's finally coming in. Is coming in June. Don't have a date on top of my head.
All right,
That's going to be super fun.
cool.
That man is finally coming. Or he's actually already here.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that's Guilty Gear. I was going to say that too. I did get to touch Oscar R. Cruz, I think it's name, or Oscar R. Sharp, because he has a sharp.
His name is actually Doppel Cruz.
Mm-hmm. It's many names. Yes. And it's funny because I've heard many as you play him, it's reminiscent in sense to the older. I don't know if they're older. I don't remember when they actually got released. The Toho fighting game, and with the cards, where you have your Toho characters and you have cards that you use for special abilities. He has a similar effect with he has cards that will, what's the word I'm looking for? He has cards that do different effects, is what I'm trying to say, but he has also three or four different sets he can pull from that all do something different. He has in total 36 moves in total, which I believe is the biggest move set of any character I've seen in anything that isn't Tekken.
Well, he's literally that man, so it's like, yeah, he's going to have special considerations taken for him, of course.
I haven't gotten to test him online against actual opponents. I've been mainly doing him in training, and I can already tell it's going to be giant pain to learn how he plays. Is more than Happy Chaos, which is what I've been playing, because Happy Chaos was a lot of really quick movements and motion, but you can learn in a sense how to do it. But because of the randomization, because when you pull cards or pages, I think 4 or 5 at a time that all have different effects. You have to keep pulling them over and over again until you either run out or until you choose a different deck, and you have to remember which each deck cards can you pull from. And
that is entirely too much for one character. That is way too much. But instead of Jam Cloudberry, we got that. Okay. Yeah, not a fair trade. Okay, you got now Cog, Utaku Noodle. You guys have the floor. What gaming news are you guys excited for?
I think the biggest one for me recently, which I was paying attention to just because I love like the tech robot games. I've been sucked heavily into like MechWarrior stuff, but I have to mention Armored Core 6 Fires.
Oh my god, yes.
And it looks amazing.
I want to point out, someone pointed something to me when I watched that trailer, and I don't want to say I forgot. There's been a lot of games that have like suddenly been coming out recently. Is that there is a good speculation that this game, I don't know the other Armored Core games they had it, but they believe that this game is going to have some sort of lock on, because it seems like it's going to be very heavily based on you flying around at Mach speed, because a lot of those fights does not look like you could do very well on controller if you're trying to aim and fly at 9,000 miles an hour.
That's the thing, is it looks so much like a Zone of the Enders type thing.
That's what I thought.
So excited. Yes. I was like, oh yes. I haven't gotten to play a game like that since Zone of the Enders 2, you know? So that was I'm super psyched for that one.
Oh yes, I absolutely love playing Armored Core 4, Armored Core 4 Answer, Armored Core 5. They're amazing. I love them.
Yeah, Armored Core 4 was great.
And so yes, I saw the announcement for 6 and I'm just like, yep, gotta mark my calendar. Release date August 23rd.
Very nice. No, that does look fantastic, and I've never even played the series very much, so like that may be my onboarding point, to be honest.
I'm really interested to see, especially with just the next gen, like the whole concepts of Armored Core 2 is not just the fast-paced combat and everything, but the level of customization that you can bring to your robots, basically, because it's like, I don't doubt they're probably going to just if they want it to be a successful Armored Core game, it needs to have like some crazy customization options at this point.
We didn't see a good amount in the trailer though. Now, how much of it you're gonna really get is kind of up in the air. But you did get different legs. You got the track legs. You got the spider, or the and you did get the regular too, and you got a lot of the flying. So I'm assuming there's gonna be a decent amount of customization, at least until we see actual gameplay footage, or like HUD and gameplay footage of that kind of stuff. But I can't see it not them calling this Armored Core and not having some sort of customization side of it.
No, definitely. So now, speaking of gaming, we're going to get into today's topic, which, if you've read the video title, you already know this, but we're going to be talking about mobile games. Why some are good, why some are bad, and why the term mobile game is often used synonymously with garbage games. So who wants to list their sins? What games do you guys have on your phones right now?
So I'll go first. I play a mobile game on my phone and on a computer called Torn. It's a very kind of basic, like massively multiplayer game, play with people around the world. It's a simple kind of not text based in a sense. Yes, there's not a lot of pictures or a lot of stuff that happens, but it's very kind of monotonous. You can do things, get stronger, fight people, that kind of stuff. That's the only game I really play on my phone now. Like most other games, like especially a lot of the gacha games, I don't have the appeal for it. Like there's not a lot of draw. I think the only game like that's not even on phones. I'm mentioning that's could be a little off topic. I think it was Zenless Zone Zero, which is supposed to be a gacha because of the aesthetic in itself. But the game that I played the most of on my phone, because it was a card game and I was playing it a lot at the time, was Hearthstone. Back when it was a lot bigger. I actually played that bunch of breaks and stuff like that because for people who don't know, I do like Warcraft. I've put a ton. I've been playing World of Warcraft since just before Burning Crusade. So like years and years and years before Final Fantasy 14. That game was really fun. I liked the beginning of it. I've fallen off quite a while from now, so I haven't played that. As I said, I've only played the game Torn, but I've sunk the most hours I think of any of my mobile games into that because it was that game or the game I'm playing now pretty much at this point.
All right.
I didn't sink a ton of money into it, which I think is the big thing is that most, mobile games is like, you got to sink money into it if you want like the expedited version.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I don't know. It kind of depends on what you're feeling because I think a lot of people play these as kind of like toilet games too, like a game or two you can play on the toilet. You don't really need to spend money on it as well. But I mean, that's my personal opinion. Depends on how you want to play it as well, though, too.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, Cog, what about you? Time for you to confess your sins.
I will confess all my sins. I got really into mobile gaming for a while, especially being, the normie one. I just became it's at times it's gotten hard to actually have time to myself to sit down and play through like a full game at this point. But mobile gaming was that little like, oh, I got 10 minutes to sit around and kill some time. It's easy to jump on and play something and get that little fix. But
Stop it.
I've been all over the place. I'm doing mobile. I think the first real mobile game that got me sucked in was way back when I had like a Droid phone with my first Droid phone. There was like a Marvel Contest of Champions. It was a card game and really basic little phone card game, but it was fun. And then it kind of escalated from there. I've played a bunch of games, but I've gotten to the point that it's like most of the games I find that actually keep my attention are generally like ports. Mr. Dataku, there is a mute button, my friend.
You still with
I don't
us?
think he can hear you.
Mr. Dataku. The doctor's having some trouble over there.
Apparently, it
a
sounds
dog
like it.
attack.
It sounds like it. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Can you? Can you guys actually hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
There is a mute button, my friend.
Well, see, I'm walking away from my thing because. Okay. I'm here with my dogs, and
Yes, they are a little not sometimes. Just maybe when you have to not be at the thing and have to tell them that they're little snots. Maybe mute your mic.
okay. Well, I'm sorry.
Nah,
No
you're
problem.
Well, if you're back with us, do you want to confess your mobile gaming sin? So what's on your phone, Dutaku?
Right now, what's on my phone?
Yeah.
Well, my phone, I have Fate Go, Pokemon, because my mother, is a boomer and cannot figure out what Pokemon does. So I basically just did that. And I have Azure Lane because I was going across the country for a vacation and there was an event going on and I wanted to make sure that I could, partake. So I just transferred my profile. On my tablet, I have Action Taimanin and I've been going back and forth between This is North Star and Bleach Brave Souls.
All right, those are some good choices.
Oh, I guess I should have answered the original question.
Oh,
because I went on my tangent and I didn't actually say what was on my phone right now. I was like, I've been in
you tried to avoid it
for a long time. No, actually, I've been my go-to is actually Ascension still. It's basically a port of a deck building game that I've been playing for years now. After that, my son admittedly got me into playing Bloons, so we're on Bloons TD6 now, and Action Tiamanin was as well, and yeah, and Octopath Traveler.
Nice, very nice. All right, Noodle, I believe that brings the floor to you.
Wow, I don't know what to say. I've just got the two. But I suppose it's not great because I've got Azure Lane, which
Yep,
meets my love of naval history and also anime waifus, and then also Fate Grand Order. So I can't say really anything about that only being two when I've got perhaps the most cancerous mobile game aside from Diablo Immortal.
yes.
We're
Man,
gonna have to
that
explain.
One. That one was interesting.
Like, we'll get into that one in a minute. I guess I have to confess my own sins since I put all you guys on the spot. See, I have Pokemon Go, which I have played for many years, and I am Team Instinct, and Team Instinct is suffering. I'm just putting that out there.
Team Mystic for life.
Team Mystic, I respect Team Mystic because it is a sound choice, a good color, and their mechanic makes perfect sense because you'll be evolving Pokemon a lot. The team that deserves no respect is Valor, for they are crazy, hyper-competitive PvP zombies who would kill their own mother if it got them more XP. Just spitting straight facts here.
See, I don't know what team I am. I'm just the red one.
Your Team Valor.
Oh.
Yes, because Team Valor gets bonuses for fighting in gyms. Mystic gets it for evolving, and Instinct gets it for hatching eggs.
I feel like I need to call Mother
Warn her.
Play this game specifically to play with her.
So I also have
Yes.
Pikmin Bloom, which is just kind of a pedometer game. So I really only check it like once a day. So that's kind of just for funsies. My day job involves walking around a lot, and despite not having legs, I get a lot of steps in. So that's cool. I also am guilty of Fate Grand Order, a game that I have gotten way too many lucky gotcha pulls on to invoke the sunk cost fallacy and pull out. It is too late for me. Pray for my soul, or what's left of it after Fate has, had its grip on me this long. Then I have Teppen, which I admittedly have, but I have not played in several months. I like to keep up on it to see what interesting things get added, but I was champion ranked for several consecutive months, and then I just kind of fell off because monthly rotation feels like it should be a long time, but it's not. So then really cool deck ideas that I come up with basically get rotated out after no time at all. So it's that's such a buzzkill. So sometimes I get these really great ideas. I'm like, aha, I'll put this motif together and make this really cool deck. And then it's only viable for a month, and then it's dead.
Yeah, I still have Teppen on my phone as well. I sort of bounce in and out on it. I was also... my problem with Teppen is I got to the point that I felt like I kind of beat the game at a certain point that I'm I was able to hit champion rank 14 or 15 months in a row. And then I was just the meta is not changing the way that I would really like it to change.
Yeah.
And again, even a year later when I got into it, that I was checking in on again, it was yep, still the same meta pretty much.
You still see a lot of the same decks over and over. Red Burn looks exactly the same it did 16 months ago to today. All Red Burn decks basically look exactly the same.
Yeah, it's really they back when it came out, they were promising a new character every 3 months or something like that.
Yep.
And it's just they just stopped at a certain point. They stopped developing whatever plot they were putting together with the whole what was it, the Savage Lands or whatever.
They ended basically with the Breath of Fire arc, and they basically stopped having the broad overarching narrative. And now they have small contained stories, which honestly, most of them are super dull unless they're one of the ones inspired by the Ace Attorney games.
Yeah, so basically it feels like they didn't really have an idea of what they were doing with the plot or where it was going to go, and they just kind of gave up on it. And then it's they stopped putting in new characters. They started making new character concepts as just, they're just going to be skins now. You can get a new character skin. And
they're nearly impossible to get because the skin drop rate is terrible.
Yeah, that's where they try to make their money off of you, is they want you to dish out for the skins essentially, because you can craft all the cards for free.
Yep. Oh wait, no, but, I got it. Are you ready for this? A long time ago it was Tep In, and today it's just Tepid.
No, but what I was going to say though is that I think the big thing with the skins, and it's something that I saw in Hearthstone too, because as you started getting more and more expansions, it was kind of a thing where and because World of Warcraft got more classes, everyone was when are we going to get Death Knights? I mean, that's a class that's not in the game yet. When are we going to get those? When are we going to get Monk? When are we going to get Demon Hunter as the expansions rolled on? Now I think Demon Hunter is out. I don't know about Death Knight. I haven't touched the game in forever, but I've seen Demon Hunter, I think gameplay beforehand on some YouTube channel every now and then beforehand. But it was kind of this weird thing where it's just it's just going to be just more cards and more sets and more skins, as one would put it. You, instead of playing Thrall as a shaman, you could play I think there's a troll and there's another character, named character that you could play as instead, and stuff like that, which is cool. Yeah. And they all have their own voice lines and little effects when they use their abilities. But it's nothing and the thing is I can't blame greed 100%, because I'm gonna be honest. If you had to say I want to add in for example, I'm just gonna put this out there because he's a character I would play 100% if they add Virgil or something like that. And
Virgil's in the game. He's a zero skin.
But he's a zero skin. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. What if he was an actual character and he had his own skills and sets, skills and set of cards and stuff like that?
The world will never know.
They would have to make an entire set and have to balance that entire set around.
No, and I respect that
as well,
because the hero powers are a big thing in the game. But yeah, it's really gone downhill recently, and it's a shame because I love the art. I love looking at like the new cards and stuff. But yeah, I haven't really been playing.
The only reason I look at Tepa nowadays is because of the art. To be perfectly honest.
If they could do more. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, I was just thinking about it right now, and it's like, considering how memey a lot of it is, I mean, you just have an entire thing about, he has a motivation counter, and you have to make sure that you play like I forget the Teppen version of Instance or Sorcery in order to increase your, motivation. And so then when he's really motivated, he can, give his, the Yamato no Kuni, his katana to a monster. And that particular monster gets a huge boost. And so
we basically have that already. It's the memory mechanic you just described. And Zero spearheaded that, funny enough, which would actually make it perfect for Virgil.
So I'm just saying, I was just thinking that took me literally 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And, see, the problem I have with a lot of games like that is that they try and make it like, everything is balanced. But for instance, in Teppen, Black Destroy has consistently been insanely overpowered.
Every single tournament, every month, without fail, is won by some Akuma Black Destroy deck. Like, there's literally just nothing in the game that counters them.
So,
Which is... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, so in the quest of making everything balanced, I feel like they are kind of and it's kind of my problem also with Smogon, for instance.
Yeah.
With their, we're going to make competitive Pokemon, but you can't use sleep, you can't use agility, you can't use all these various things, which just so coincidentally just allow it so that, every single time some overpowered dragon is just, it just happens to be the best thing in the game.
Yeah. That's more of a by regulation versus a by default thing. And
well, considering how much they tweak the game, I would argue that Teppen is pretty much in that same vein.
Yeah, it's kind of similar because that the deck rotation thing, that really is kind of a joy kill for me, I'll be honest. And I guess I should get back to my other sins, because I have a few more to go through. I, too, have Bleach Brave Souls. I'm not, super far in or anything, but it's a fun time sink. I also have Action Time and End, because, yes, if you don't know what it is, don't look it up. This is a family-friendly channel.
No, totally look it up. Look it up.
Cog, stop corrupting the youth. Get all the grandkids, get your grandparents. Let everyone enjoy.
Party.
No, but didn't you say it's canon in the Gamera cinematic universe?
Technically, it is. From what I was reading, yes.
So surreal.
Hey, Grandma, come watch this.
Jeez, you're gonna give Grandma a heart attack for one of many possible reasons.
I'm just thinking to myself, it's like, you were saying the other day, it's like, I got to play Action Time and In on my PC because the phone doesn't do it justice, and I'm just thinking to myself,
it doesn't.
Is Cog Jr. there just being like, Mom, I really like girls now?
Oh, jeez.
No, that's
some sleeping on
dad time.
That's some sleeping on the couch action right there. I also have Mighty Doom, speaking of family friendly. It's a roguelite based on Doom. Like, what more do you need? It's super fun. I played it on my lunch break for many, many weeks on end. I too have Azure Lane, and I'm not as good at it as the brothers Pugum, but that being said, I enjoy it. It's goofy fun, and I'm terrible at it. Like I've been stuck on the same part of the story for kind of a while. So that's our sins to confess. But let's go a little bit. Let's go one step further beyond, guys. Super Saiyan 3 time here, where we need to talk about the why and how. Like, what do these games have in common, class? Just like, who wants to say it? What do all of these games that we've basically just mentioned, what quality do they all share in kind?
Most of them are free and garbage.
Yes, exactly. You summed it up perfectly. And yeah, these games are free to download with very few exceptions. Like, if you go on the any, like, I use an Android phone, so mine's all Google Play Store. You'll find most of them are free, up until you realize that they're not actually free. I think of all the gotchas, I think the most honest is probably Bleach Brave Souls, because you don't need exact copies of that exact character to continue powering them up. You can just feed fodder into the machine in order to power up a character. Whereas in most games, Fate Grand Order is pretty guilty of this. In order to increase their special ability, you have to feed exact copies of that character. So the rarer the character, the more you're forced to invest if you want to power them up all the way. And that is maddening. I think I've only done that for like 3-star characters. I think I have 1 4-star who's in P5. But yeah, like, oh, we have this character that's a 1% drop, and you have to land them 5 times in order to get them. Like, what kind of garbage is that?
And so it costs like $80 to make 50 attempts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's like, statistically speaking, you have to spend like $400 to have like a 95% chance of making the 1%.
That's the biggest thing is I've been noticing in more and more of the games is that a lot of them will also give you free rolls. And they've also been what I would like to, I guess you could say it, I would say it this way, is sugarcoating some of the rolls in a sense where some of the, is it triple S? I think that's the highest rank in most of those. Is,
generally.
There are certain characters that are not as good triple S's as others, but they generally will come up more in rolls, so that way, like, oh, I just got triple S. He's a lot stronger than this S and this double S. The thing is, though, is that when you look at the grand scheme of things, as you're getting farther, you realize, oh, he's actually not. He actually only gets me about a quarter of the way through, instead of being at like 10% if you never rolled him in the first place. So some people get that little extra boost if they're lucky enough, quotation marks, but they don't. You're not actually that lucky because you didn't get Fighter-Man 2.0, who is better than the 1.5 version, who has a 20% stat boost that actually gets you through 50% of the game and not 25. I don't know how the statistics actually work, so I'm just going to go with that.
Well, the general thrust is still correct, though. Like, there's a lot of games.
San Diego.
Really that.
San Diego comes to mind in Azure Lane. She's a 5-star, but if you're doing basic ship construction, she shows up a lot, like weirdly a lot.
And I also want to point out, this is a big thing that I always tell a lot of people, because a lot of people it's freemium crap. Like, why would you play? It's like, and I tell people, it's like, it depends on what you like to play. If you see something, like, it's like when you're playing a fighting game, in a sense, it's not a lot of people go in there to play the fighting game because they expect to be not ranked number 1 in the world. Well, usually it's a character that they see, and they were like, I want to play that character. That character looks really cool, or something. And then you play that character and you go on with it. It's like what I tell people is when I played Warframe for a long time, is I actually put money into Warframe. And everyone's like, but Warframe's a free game. Why would you give them money? And it's like, because I've played the game for, let's see here, if I pull it up real quick, like, scroll. 1,000 hours plus, we'll say that. And I think that I could give them a bit of money for the 1,000 hours that I've played and enjoyed the game.
And part of it's law of subjective value in the first place. Like, what is the game worth to you?
Exactly. That's kind of what I'm pointing. I've enjoyed the game I enjoy the game to a point where I feel like I can give them a bit more. I can give them a bit more money to help with development, to help with stuff because I'm enjoying it so much. But that is subjective to everybody.
Right.
If you really like Azure Lane and you don't mind some of the like you might get that role if it's not a gambling addiction. Hopefully, it's not anything like that.
The thing with I was going to say. The thing with Azure Lane, though, is the fact that they give you like additional skins. And that's like the big draw is that they have like, here's the cute girl. But then if you want the cute girl in a really skimpy negligee, well,
you better shell out.
So
I think that's the problem with the
one
bigger...
of the things that I think is best about Azure Lane is that the real world currency doesn't directly tie into the gacha mechanics. It doesn't tie into the collecting the girls. It ties into giving the girls cute outfits that you might like. So if you don't care about having them have the really cute outfits and you just want them in the military uniforms, which works for some people, no one in particular here being one of those people, then you don't need to really spend any money, and you can spend whatever of the premium currency, the gems that you get, just expanding your dock space so you can have even more of those cute anime girls in military uniforms.
Todd, you were saying something?
So I think the problem isn't necessarily the games themselves. It's more so the general greed that has overwhelmed the industry and the monetization of how the monetization structures that they put into these games. Because it's like you could easily take these games, pull them together into a cohesive thing, right? Because they're all fun to a certain extent. Could you imagine being able to play Fate Go, right? Instead of constantly having to, gotcha for a character, it's a character that you're able to get through side quests or side missions and just doing story mode or something, like being able to feel like games used to feel, where it was a full package sort of thing. Or most of these gacha games, you could easily put them together into just a solid game experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? So there's fun elements in all these games. The problem is the cancer of just like, we need everybody to we need to monetize every game to its nth potential, which is like how you get stuff like we were just talking about Diablo Immortal. It's like there were fun elements of classic Diablo, mechanics in the game, which is just, Diablo was a fun game.
Right.
But the level of just sheer greed that was so obvious in the game of like the amount of money you would have to sink in for loot crates and things, like it's unbelievable. It's just sinister to the point, like it's villainous, honestly, how bad it is. And the fact that the game made like $300 million just out of the gate was ridiculous. And then the fact that it develops these cultures where they're like hardcore, you can go and follow like hardcore guys that were into doing each season of Immortal or something like that. And they're like, if you're not dishing out the money, if you're a freemium player, you're not paying your dues or whatever. It's like, what a horrible like gaming culture that you're like, you gotta pump out the cash, man. You gotta do it.
It sounds like a drug addiction, right?
Yeah, I was like, what is this? This is it's supposed to be a fun experience, right? It's supposed to be an entertaining experience. That's why I admit, like the gacha games don't always hold my attention for very long unless there's other elements that like grab me. That's admittedly why I actually really enjoyed Octopath so far, is that it's not just like the game, but the storytelling experience of it, I've been enjoying. That there's actually a thrust, like certain games where it's like there's a thrust to it, right? You have like Fate Go has their story mode, or they're trying to tell some kind of narrative through the story to get you interested in the characters, to be like, oh, actually kind of like these characters, I want to learn a little bit more about them, or whatever world. There's got to be something there that grabs you, that wants you to enjoy the experience, right? And then or the gameplay mechanics or something are like just really fun, right? But it's then they take that and then they're like, let's turn it into a cash cow. How much money can we suck out of these suckers? You know what I mean? That's the frustrating part, because like any of these games could be just like fun, solid games in themselves if they were refined and you were to actually just sell it as a full game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know the devil of it?
It's like it's a game that's ripped into smaller pieces with a bunch of advertisements shoved in. This is what a lot of them are.
One thing I want to mention about the Diablo Immortal thing was that the being a naturally more competitive, or more, I'm going to say more, but a competitive person, the draw is also because of what I would say is, if I remember correctly, and I haven't followed it that much, but I know how Diablo works in a sense, is that there's these gems you can get, you can slot into your armor, you slot into your weapons, but there's also special gems you can get that give you a lot better buffs. The thing is, though, is that you need specific currency or specific items to get a chance to make it better. A chance to make it better, not a guarantee. So if you're one of the lucky ones who's shelling out $200 and you got a hit on 3 of the rolls and your predecessor got a hit on 2, you have that better advantage. You're going to be higher on the leaderboards. You have, I guess, more say because you have a larger number. You have a larger number or a bigger, thing than the other person, and in a sense, which is extra predatory and extra toxic in a sense, I would say, is because you can win the rankings in a sense if you're lucky enough or you spend enough money, regardless of skill. There is still some skill involved, of course, but regardless of skill in certain ways, and it's never a guarantee. No one's ever on a level playing field. If you're playing as freemium, you're never going to be on the same level as everybody else, because you would have to grind so much more for a lot of that stuff. So it naturally, the natural end game progression is just who's got the bigger credit card budget that they're willing to break for it.
And it gets.
I've seen some things on Diablo Immortal, and it's way worse than what you have said. Right? Sorry.
It's
cool.
Unbelievable how much how bad it is. I've been watching videos. Go ahead, Noodle. But I'm right there with you. It gets really bad. People
have mathed out how many hours you would have to grind in order to get the regular currency with just the drop rates to do things. And it's like you would have to be grinding every minute of every hour of every day for like 27 years to max out your armor with gems.
Or just put your credit card down.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what they try to get you.
Or spend $100,000.
Yeah, I remember that story actually. Now that you bring it up, I kind of forgot about it because it's one of those things I don't need to keep this in my memory bank. It's trash enough.
And that's on top of how utterly tone deaf they were at the very beginning when they announced the game. I'm sorry, you can't walk away from, don't you all have phones? And it's like, yes, but wow, that is just as a customer service professional, I'm like, that is entirely not what you should have said there. And so this is on top of the fact that they basically just face planted right off the bat. And yet somehow there's still people, eating the coprolite casserole going, oh man, I sure do love this souffle. Woo-hoo.
Well, that's because unfortunately, all they need is one person who will spend $10,000, and it doesn't matter if there are 3, 4, 500 people who would spend $50, $60 who say, I'm not going to play this game, even though I would have spent $50, $60, because that one person who spends $10,000 makes up for them and then more.
You just need the one whale.
Then having all the freemium players, like, we can have 100 freemium players for every one guy that dishes out $100,000, and they just don't care.
Yep.
It's like we're getting our money.
That they justify it just by bottom line, basically. And the thing, I played Diablo Immortal a little bit, and I was like, yeah, this is okay. And I didn't even get far enough into the game where the whole rare gems thing even became a thing. But the problem is it really preys on a lot of human psychology. One of the things that annoys me that a lot of these games do, and it's not even financial this time, is energy systems. And it's like, you have 100 energy and it takes you 10 energy to go on a mission. And then you have to wait 5 minutes to restore 1 energy. That is literally trying to turn a video game into a habit rather than something that you just sit down and play. They're trying to give you a psychological compulsion to play the game. Now, that doesn't work on me because I'm way too lazy and unmotivated for that to ever take root. But it does it to a lot of people. And that's why you see this huge... Nick. What's that?
No, I just love I'm way too lazy and unmotivated for your psychological tricks to try and monetize my laziness.
Just won't work. I'm too lazy for that.
Action Timing In really, really suffers from that. It's one of those things of it's like, you need to go have 20 stamina in order to go out and get the precious gems you need in order to upgrade your ninja. But you only have 30. Looks like you're going to have to buy a stamina up because you want to get, the next rank up for your ninja.
And that's a thing. It's like, monetary wise, Action Diamond might be one of the worst offenders. Like, have you seen the thing that's always fun for me, and I did this in my Meta Knots video, it's like, look at the gacha currency and see what it actually would get you and what that translates to, because here's a fun fact. Every game that has a gacha, by law, has to display its actual rates of their drops somewhere in game. You can thank Grand Blue Fantasy for that. Now, the thing is, Action Diamond in particular has a really atrocious rate. You pay a lot of money for very, very little in the way of gems. Now, the cool thing about that being, I can just save up gems for free, and then you can just buy ninjas. There is no gacha for the characters. But the conversion rate is awful. It's abysmal. There are $80 packages get you a character skin and a weapon skin, and that's it.
That's why I feel like, honestly, I've been moving more and more towards just when I'm playing stuff on mobile, just the stuff that actually keeps my attention on mobile are more ports of actual games. I referenced Ascension before.
Right.
If you don't know what Ascension is, it's literally just the digital. It is not a freemium game. You do have to pay for that one, and it is a physical board game or a physical, what do they call them? It's in the box card game, basically, that you can go out and then you can buy expansions to it, and then you're just adding on to the game itself, essentially. Or something like I was playing Nexomon, for example, on my phone because it was just easier to get to it. So I picked up Nexomon and I was playing it on my phone as a mobile game, but it's actually, you can.
But it's a full game.
It's a full game experience that you can also get on Steam or something like that. So I've been moving more and more towards stuff that I can get. It's more of a full game experience. I'm willing to pay $5 or $10 for the mobile version, and then if it's something that I have the time to get through, those have been holding my attention way more.
So you want to know what's worse? There's games that actually do both. Now, let me tell you guys about a little mobile title called Evertale. And maybe you've seen the ads and maybe you haven't, but to give you a short version, this game is sold for money. It's $1. It is $1 game on the App Store. And it is Well, it advertises itself. Let's start with the ads, because most people will see the ads first. It desperately tries to be like, oh, look, we're horror-themed Pokemon. And it rips off Omori, like, beat for beat in some of these ads, where it's like literally scenes from Omori, but they replace it with like the red sprite from Pokemon Red and Blue. And literally just like doing this whole horror themed thing. You know what the game actually is? It's a generic high fantasy gacha that started replacing its monster gacha with waifu gachas once they started switching to the Omori template so that they could rip more people off. Because not only do you pay for the game, you pay for the gacha. Yeah. It's the worst of both.
Slight side tangent. What is going on? Speaking of ads, with like you make jokes and memes about your level one thug. You fight this little dude fights this one dude because of level 99 boss or something like that. And then you download the game and there's nothing like that.
Oh god, I've seen so much of that.
Isn't that like false advertising, or is it because it's free that it doesn't? Like I said, no lawyer experience here like that. But I'm like, I feel like, is it because it's a free game and you're not spending when you're just getting tricked into downloading a game that's not what it is, but it's not technically false advertising because you didn't pay for it. Like it doesn't. It's so weird to see so many of these games. Like this is what you get when you play this game. Oh no, it's definitely not that.
That is a fascinating question, and I would love to hear an answer to that. If anyone has any ideas, you can leave a comment down below. But I assume it's because nothing is being paid for out of the box for these games that they can get away with that. And another theory I have is a lot of them probably aren't even stationed in the United States. Like the whole Metanauts debacle, they literally were trying to use a really stupid legal loophole from European like trademark law. It wasn't even the actual license or copyright. They were using trademark law to try to get away with using Metabots as a name for this like really crappy pay to earn cryptocurrency game. And that's another kettle of fish entirely we should talk about sometime. But like, I guess because either again because you're not paying for anything, or maybe because they're not even in the United States and are therefore basically free from prosecution. Like the only way you could get those guys even involved is if you had Interpol involved, and generally they're too busy, not prosecuting the UN for all their war crimes and stuff. But I mean, details. Like that's a weird topic for sure, and it's hard to say even like why it is the way it is. But yeah, some of those mobile game ads get freaking weird, dude. Like the ads themselves could be a whole video, and I've seen several, and like I've seen some weird ones, and I've seen video compilations of even weirder ones.
I figured I'd just bring it up because it kind of goes along with what you're talking about, how it looks like one thing, but it's not. It's just like, well, no, that's not how that works.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like a lot of these are very clearly low effort. Like Evertale's a good example. I didn't even pay for the game. They had like, oh, it's on sale for $0. I'm like, that's not a sale. That's a giveaway. Anyway, I tried it for like 15 minutes, and it's this very generic high fantasy template that's just no inspiration behind it whatsoever. And that's the thing. Like I've tried a lot of these games. There was even a time where my old computer died, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to the Google Play Store and just grab like every free game that looks even remotely interesting. And yeah, long story short, I don't have any of them anymore because I got bored with them and deleted them, or in some cases deleted them instantaneously. One of my personal least favorite genres is the mobile MMORPG, because those things are just awful. Like people can talk about clunky interfaces all they want, but I'm a man who has learned how to play Dwarf Fortress. But like the mobile MMO is the game that plays itself and is the opposite of fun.
That's another good point, because it's like you get some of these games and then they keep putting in like, speed mode or something where you just like increase the it's like an auto mode, right? So they put in their own auto mode, and then it's like, am I actually bothering to play this game? Do I have to play this game?
I'm watching the game play itself.
I'm watching the game play itself. Exactly. It's like, am I actually having fun right now, or am I just wasting time and just literally killing time for the sake of killing time? Am I getting a legitimate experience here, or is this company just tricked me into watching like their program play out? It's like, haha, joke's on you, give us more money.
For what? Watching your movie?
watching your little game movie that you made that I'm not even really playing. I just hit the button and it plays itself.
Yeah, talk about a weird subgenre. I've run into way too many of those, and they're just like, hey, you get to make your character and play this MMO. And I was like, well, free MMOs are already sketch. And I start playing, it's like, oh, you push this button, and you'll instantly just walk to this location. And then if you push the screen, it'll do this action automatically. And I'm like, what? Game implies that I have some input. Where is my input?
Yeah, it's like, that boggled my mind that when you can just like hit the button, and like I remember playing one game where it's like it's like, oh, follow the quest. Oh, if you push this button, your character will move towards the quest automatically. Like, okay. If you push this button, they'll fight automatically. And then there's another button that will allow them to do special moves automatically. I'm like, so it's gonna do the entire game automatically.
Yeah, it's like the wonderful world of entirely too automated RPGs. And there's so many of them. Like, you get so many that follow the template of, here is a big attack button, and here are your little special buttons. Or you can just hit auto and 4 times speed and watch a movie instead, because it's just as efficient.
And people will do that too, just because like it's something else about the game grabs them, I guess, like characters, or it might be a brand or something like that. It's just like a brand that they really like, and then it's like, it's like I see what brought them into it to a certain extent, but it's like, dude, like you're giving this company money so that you can just sit there and watch a program play out. You're not even, but yet some people will still like, oh, it's a great, I get that having speed up options in certain types of games are really helpful to like get through grinding and stuff like that.
Right.
But I don't know. There's a balance there.
One could argue that all of Warframe's monetization is basically that, because it's like, oh, I'm paying to not grind. No, my friend, you're paying Digital Extremes to grind less.
Because you will be grinding at some point.
Yeah.
Free games have a lot of grind. Let's just be clear. Like, a lot of paid games have grind, but to be frank, a lot of free games rely on grind, and some do it better than others. Like, I have never really had an issue in, say, I think Bleach Brave Souls is a good example. Like, I have no trouble powering up my dudes and staying consistently strong for wherever I need to be. Now, Fate Grand Order has one of the worst XP systems I've ever seen a game utilize. Like, it is hot garbage, and it barely makes any sense. And they've literally had to patch it like 8 or 9 times to make it even remotely passable, and I would still argue it's kind of garbage.
Yeah, honestly, Fate Go is like, it really relies on the fact that it has a rabidly insane fan base, and it's kind of drawing from a lot of media. Basically, Fate Go itself is a pastiche of, for instance, it would be like if there was a game, a mobile game that had like all of like the Marvel things, all the Marvel things, and it basically was like, okay, so we're gonna take, like Captain, or Doctor Strange from the movies, and we're gonna have Captain America from the radio dramas from the 1940s. Oh, and we're gonna have Namor from the cartoon in the 90s, and they're all gonna team up together, and they're all gonna fight against, alien Galactus or whatever, except that this is a ridiculous Japanese property, so their fans are even crazier than Marvel fans are over here. And you can understand, kind of why it's able to survive, even though it is not a good game. I would not, if someone was to go up to me and go, Titaku, would you recommend Fate? I would go, no. No.
Do you want a game that actively hates you, has a W-shaped difficulty curve, and actively mocks you at every turn? Well, Fate Grand Order is the game for you, my friend.
And yet, I can't stop playing it. It's stupid. It's hostile to me at every time. But, the writing is really, really good. It's really funny. And I mean, where else am I going to get, incredibly beautiful women with giant swords shooting lasers at each other?
It's Stockholm Syndrome, dude. Let's just be honest here.
Lasers, man. Lasers. They're shooting lasers at each other.
You act like that's not a staple of Japanese media in general.
I just see Taku sitting there on his phone. Why do you hate me, game?
I just want to love you. Why do you hate me?
I just want to love you.
Someone draw fan art of that. Draw Taku like lamenting over his phone.
Whoever just have me a battered housewife or like a bruised eye or something. Be like, it's okay, fake ghost loves me.
But here's the thing: there is some upsides. The fact that we keep playing these games does mean that there are upsides to them. There's some virtue to be found here. This is not the doom and gloom hour, though I guess the past hour kind of has been. For instance, Pokemon Go is one of those games that if I'm out and about and I'm walking around and I'm just like, Sneckburg has a lot of Pokestops, so I'll just like stop with my phone out and I'll walk for a little bit, throw some Pokeballs, spend some stops. It's fun. It's good fun. I don't take it super seriously, but it's always kind of fun if you find a shiny or something kind of rare. And even Fate Grand Order, like Itaku said, the story is really well written. And it's interesting to see like the weird combinations of characters you'll find, like, in this world, the American Civil War was East versus West, and it was because the Irish were invading. And it's like, I'm sorry, what?
I feel that that's a genre, or Pokemon Go. At least not a lot of games that I've seen on the App Store is the kind of ARG, like you use your location and you play a game based on your location kind of thing.
Yeah, so and there's something to that.
Because the two other games I know of, I don't remember the name of one of them. It was a little fantasy RPG where you make a little sprite dude. You have different classes, and as you go around, you fight bosses in specific territories around your location, and you get experience and level up. The progressor got kind of silly, so I ended up not playing it much anymore. But for what time I had with it, it was pretty fun. And the other one was called a game that a lot of people might have heard called Ingress, which was pretty much just like a weird little tactical, like you're either red, blue, or green. And you went around and like claimed landmarks and stuff like that for your little territory.
Yeah, it was the prototype
territory, pretty much. Yes.
Yeah, it was like basically prototypical Pokemon Go.
Pretty much, yes. And they went around to make Pokemon Go, of course, too. Yep. But it's like, I don't see a lot of here. And I feel like, I remember we were talking about it when we were playing, I don't remember what we were playing, time or just chilling. We were talking about, like, what if they made like a Mega Man Battle Network ARG or something like that for your phone? Where you had your little Navi on your phone, you'd go around and fight viruses and stuff like around your neighborhood and stuff like that. You level up your little Net Navi.
They're
or something like
doing
that.
Something with a Capcom franchise, but they chose Monster Hunter, actually.
And I was about to say, don't give Neontic any ideas. They would do that.
Yeah, but it's not out yet. It's in beta, and I did not get picked to try the beta, though I put in for it. And they are making a Monster Hunter game based on the Pokemon Go Ingress map. So we will see what that brings in time.
See, I might try. I might give that a try because that sounds really cool. Because I mean, the ARG has been one of my kind of cool things, is like a little augmented reality kind of stuff. And
yeah, there's definitely a novelty. Nature. Yeah, there's definitely a novelty factor, but at the same time, like there are some really cool ideas being used, and there's something to be said for that. Mm-hmm. And like I said, Bleach Brave Souls is really well balanced. If you like Bleach, you should try it. Action Tournament has certain appeal. I will leave it at that. because I don't
If
want
you
to lose
like,
my mind.
if you like backstory or plot,
Yes,
shall we
Yes,
say?
totally
Plot.
about the plot.
plot.
Big tracks of plot.
Huge plot. Yes. So like things like that, like every game has its appeal and will have its market, its demographic, and some games hold my interest for a time and then I give up on them, and some I don't even start. But like I got a pretty good roster of games. Like I play Mighty Doom all the time. It's super fun. It's kind of a brainless game, but it's one that I enjoy. And that's the thing. I think the good games should be celebrated. If you end up having a game that you're putting hundreds and thousands of hours into, don't feel bad about dropping $5 or $10, provided you're not making it some kind of weird gambling habit and throwing away your 401k to a company because you wanted more PNGs of cute anime waifus. Okay, you guys, we need to do better than that and not support crappy games is the point I'm trying to make here.
Guys, I got it. Okay. NFT gotcha game with Snackcoin.
I'm going to just hold your head under the water, and I'm not going to let you come up.
I was funny too, as I was browsing through my phone, I did remember I did actually have a very, very timeless game on my phone I usually forget about. It's called chess. I love chess. I'm very bad at chess, but I love chess. And it hates me and it loves me too.
I understand. I understand.
A really good point I think you made, Snack, was also like how serious you take it, right? So, like we said, there's always in order for even crappy. I mean, I'm not gonna say crappy, but even for like bare basic, freemium games to actually be moderately successful, they have to have some fun element to them that keeps people wanting to go back to play them, right?
Yeah.
So there has to be some element of a fun-based game in there for it to be at least remotely successful. And then I think the key too is, like you said, it's how much are you going to take it seriously, right? So if you're just treating it as what it should be treated as, which is just a fun gaming experience, I think one can get by without dishing out like, oh, it's like they're going to try and grab you with like, oh, hey, spend $30 on this package for this one character and these upgrades, but if you don't take all that as seriously, it can be, you can just focus on the game, the narrative, the stories, the characters a lot easier.
I apologize, Cog, because like it has to be something that draws you in. There has to be something that draws you in. And all in my mind I can think about is like, yes, there's a lot of things that draw a lot of people in. Like that one mobile game that has the revolutionary jiggle physics of the booty every time you shoot the gun on the lady.
Well, to be fair.
See, the thing is, Clockwork and Snack kind of got into this. The mobile game developers don't want you to know this, but PNGs of anime waifus are free. You can just go onto the internet, and to get them, the mobile game developers, they don't want you to know this.
There's these things called fan wikis, and literally they just rip all the assets from the game and have them in big libraries where you can admire the PNGs to your heart's content. Oh, you actually just reminded me, because there's another thing. There's another thing, and it really cannot be overstated when it comes to mobile games, is that basically, because they're live service games, someday they're going to die. They're going to be gone. I played Dragalia Lost for a long time, like up until like around the last part of the story arc, and that game's dead. It's gone. Yep. They closed the server. So if you put money into the game, you have to do so with the understanding that someday it's going to disappear. This is not a sound financial investment. NFT joke goes here. But all live service games eventually stop being alive.
God bless Senator Armstrong. He died so that NFTs would die too.
It was the only way. It has to be this way.
So yeah, basically, they're games with a lifespan.
We did it right. NFTs are no more.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
But yeah, that's a good point. They're games with a lifespan, so
you have to go in.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah, you have to go in with that understanding.
And also don't take it too seriously.
Yeah, definitely do not. Do not take your waifu PNGs too seriously, or it will ruin your lifeu.
Unless it's World of Warcraft, that game's never going to die.
That game's died a couple times now. It's like the Nikki 6 of MMOs.
I want to point out that
was a nice reference.
Thank you.
Nice job, Snack. Nice music reference.
I want to point out that it's kind of when it comes to World of Warcraft and other games like that, there is a good rose shade to my glasses when it comes to a lot of those games, because there was a time 10, 11 years ago when I was also playing that game, and it was also very new and very exciting. And, as you get older, you yearn for those other times where it was a lot more fun, and you try to eke out whatever fun you can get of the game. Even though the game is long and old.
It's that nostalgia that is the reason why people go, oh, man, I really want to play Earthbound again. And then they get to Peaceful Rest Valley.
Oh, no.
They realize,
no,
there's a reason why I never finished this game.
No, I don't think it's even that. Like, I think the biggest issue with the internet being what it is and paced the way the internet content is paced is people are becoming really nostalgic from a very early age. And there's a lot of people willing to cash in on it. And in fact, I think a lot of these MMOs are guilty of that. There was a Ninja Turtles mobile game that I tried at one point that was hot garbage. And
think about I thought you were done. You cut out there.
Oh, no, I was just saying there was like a Ninja Turtles game, that mobile game, and it was garbage. And it was like, oh, don't you love the 87 animated series? Because that's mostly what we're shilling here. And like, I tried it, and I'm like, this really isn't any good. And like, they're doing a huge push in recent years, trying to bring back Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And I'm like, yeah, guys, it's over, it's done. And honestly, there are certain shades of nostalgia, and that's another topic we'll need to cover sometime, is nostalgia in terms of nerd culture. Nostalgia is the opiate of the masses, and it kind of needs to stop being a thing. So it's really stopping things from actually getting better.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, I would definitely agree. I feel like in a lot of ways, I don't know what's happened, but like basically around like 1985, it's like pop culture has just stopped, and it's just, hey guys, remember He-Man? Hey guys, remember freaking Mario? Remember, Transformers? Remember Pokemon?
Samurai Pizza Cats?
Pop culture has kind of been on a nonstop loop since around the years of our birth, and like some things have been good and some things have been bad, but you can definitely claim that there's definitely a lack of creativity, and we'll get into that in another episode. But like, it affects the way these mobile games are being designed. There is clearly a lot of, guys, what if we made a mobile MMO that had almost exactly the same interface as WoW 1.0? Those exist, and yes, they're objectively terrible. And like, I don't care how nostalgic you are, it's garbage, and making it a mobile game is almost guaranteed to make it worse. That I can't relay the entire joke for obvious reasons of not wanting to be demonetized, but for a long time I saw the joke because the iOS store went up before the Google Play Store, and the general consensus was iOS is simply short for it's officially crap.
I was gonna say, do you want me to regale you stories of EVE Online? I could tell you that too. Definitely not a WoW clone, that's for sure.
Let's get into MMOs. Let's do an episode on MMOs later in the season. That would definitely be something.
An episode of 4 hours of Clockwork Talking. That's gonna be a good one.
All hail our Icelandic overlords that actually did succeed in killing White Wolf Productions. No, they didn't.
They got backed by Crusader Kings 2 devs. Pandarix? I can't remember their name.
Paradox.
Thank you.
I would argue that that's not White Wolf. They have They're done.
White Wolf in name only.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, you can say that a lot about like, companies nowadays. I mean, Activision, Blizzard is nothing like what of Blizzard of old.
I get the feeling that Blizzard is going to be the whipping boy of season 3. We're just going to really take the sledgehammer to that.
Hey guys, remember Warcraft? Remember Zug Zug?
I remember.
Floating Feet?
I mean, you might be hearing more of that soon if I remember correctly. I don't have a source for this, unfortunately, but I remember hearing a couple times that I believe the US and the EU or the UK, I don't remember, has approved the buyout, and they only got one more region to go. And if they approve it, then the buyout can go through. Then we'll have Microsoft, Activision, Blizzard.
Interesting. We'll see how Microsoft manages to mess this one up.
You just mean Microsoft then?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Because if we're talking about a merger, there's only one way that this power is going to go, and it's not in the hey guys, I don't know how to say this, but you know that game that everybody wanted? Oh, you mean the remake of the really beloved game? Yeah. So funny thing about that, I had some Indian food, and it's entirely unrelated to this remake, but here you go. Why is this got visible stink lines?
That's another topic. That's another topic we'll need to pursue. But that's a thing, isn't it? Like a lot of the worst trends in gaming really do trickle down into the mobile market. You think that's just low expectations because the game is free off the shelf?
Maybe. I think it's more along the lines of it's just cheap to make, so it's easy just to pump out a bunch of them.
That's probably true.
I think that's probably part of it, is that it's cheap to make. The servers for them are not particularly robust because, I mean, they're not particularly, you're not like, oh man, this is crisis level. Oh man, that's really causing my PC to chug.
Wow, we're pulling crisis memes into this already. Okay.
Yes. So, it's not particularly beefy. And on top of that, there is a huge amount of money that can be made. All, as I say, for something that's not that hard to program, not that hard to keep up. So, you can make a lot of money if you just, hire the right artists and go, all right, guys, we need to go into Donboru and figure out what the highest rated tags are. Make sure our characters have these tags involved.
Probably don't want to go into this on this chance that I don't know how long this has been running, but you don't even need artists anymore. That's what Chat GPT and those AI art things are for now.
We'll see how long that's a whole other conversation.
That's exactly
episode. What I was going to say.
Different episode entirely. We're getting a little off track here.
And as you guys were saying, it's just like, if you have the right tags,
AI, by the way.
A lot of these ones that we're talking about, a lot of these mobile games that we're talking about that are super successful, they've come out of pre-existing fan bases. Yep. Things like FGO, that one Bleach game that y'all are playing, Pokemon Go, all of that, they're riding off of the coattails of pre-existing franchises, pre-existing success, and so yeah, it's really easy to make a lot of money when you've already got a rabid and fanatic fan base.
Yeah, I think the only super major mobile game that I know of that is basically entirely original is Grand Blue, isn't it? That's the only thing I can think of.
I would have to research that.
The two games that I know that have made the biggest splash in the mobile market that also have had. No, I'm sorry, I don't want to say it that way. At least the biggest games I know of that had a big splash in the mobile market that kind of came out like out of the blue in a way. At least I think in this market was Genshin Impact, because Genshin Impact had a really big splash on PC, on mobile, and then it came to PC. And both games were super big to my knowledge. And then they recently came out with what?
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to stop you there, because you see, the developer of Genshin Impact, actually, it's part of a existing property of mobile games. It's part
of the Hoyoverse, that's which is also with Third Impact or something like that. I mean, there's a couple of games that they have made, but I don't know how much of actually came over to the West.
Honkai Impact and a number of their other games in the Hoyoverse are over. Yes.
Yeah. So the two more recent ones was Genshin Impact, because a lot of people found it easy to play on the mobile and on PC. And their newest one, Honkai Star Rail, I know that was heard that was getting a lot of praise, because it's not the open world; it's a more of a JRPG. So it's easier to play on your mobile, so you can switch from mobile to PC a lot easier than you could with Genshin Impact, which is why I've been told why that game is very, very popular right now, because it's very easy to go from one to the other.
All right, that's fair. Though once again, yeah, they have a pre-existing chain of successful games, and I don't know where they started or if it was based on anything in particular. I mean, like I said, Pokemon Go is based off the map that Ingress originally used, and Ingress was an original IP. So,
yeah,
we should do a little bit of research on that. That'd be curious to know. So, all right. So, why don't we bring this episode to a close, guys? I'm going to pose one last question here, and that is, what is your favorite and most hated mobile game? Clockwork, you have the stand.
I don't know about most hated. I don't play too many of the mobile games in general. My favorite one of all time right now is gotta be chess, because it hates me and I hate it, but I also love it, and I know it loves me too. Hated, I don't really have, like I said, I don't really play a lot of mobile. And I guess I would put it, because this is a mobile game and I would never touch a 10 football, is probably Diablo Immortal, because I would never touch it because of the horrendous monetization and the severe lack of what made Diablo, and my love for Diablo 2 and such, and just it should have been so much better, and it wasn't.
I understand. I share your pain. So, Cog, you control the floor.
I would say my favorite game that I play on mobile is still probably Ascension is at the top, because I've been playing it for, it's the only game that has consistently stayed on not only the phone I have currently, but 2 to 3 other phones I had before this. It's a fun game. I play with my buddy almost on a daily basis. It's asynchronous, so it's like we just pop in, take our turn, and pass it back and forth, and it's we've been doing it for several years now. It's the only game that I have never deleted off my phone. So
nice.
That's number one. And then most hated. Yeah, it's hard to get more hated than Diablo Immortal. I don't know how to not like. I'm right there with you, Clockwork. It was painful.
That's fair. Titaku, you have the floor.
My favorite, man, why you gotta do this to me? I tried to make a top 5 yesterday, which is actually what kind of prompted this entire discussion to begin with. And I could only do 3. But so I guess I'll just put those 3, and it's basically just Azure Lane, Action Time Event, and what was it? Fate, I guess.
Man, you really are a battered housewife.
He only hurts me because he loves me.
Oof.
Okay. For context, I've been a Fate fanboy for almost 20 years now. So, it's
He's
been
used
a
to disappointment,
variety.
is what he's saying.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. And least or most hated?
Probably Fate. I mean, honestly, I know it's like, okay, it has, as you said, like the most ridiculous and labyrinthine system in terms of like not only getting your character, but also powering them up. And on top of that, there's the most ridiculous difficulty curves. And I keep, getting told is like, oh, any servant can be used in order to do any content. I'm like, that is a load of bupkis right there, because there are certain bosses that will just murder you unless you do very specific things. And let me tell you, I have not a small number of high-level servants, and I still get regularly murdered by some of these bosses. I don't understand how a lot of these YouTubers or content creators are able to do like, yeah, I'm just going to solo, Sir Gawain with Gaholin. And it's like, what? Why? But they do it.
Yep.
It's because you haven't put your credit card down yet.
McCollin's a freebie. Like, you wouldn't even need to do that.
Yeah. So
that's just masochism at that point. All right. Well, that's understandable. So, Noodle, you now have the board.
Well, I think my favorite mobile game, I would either be a toss-up with Azur Lane or Pokemon Go. Those are the only mobile games that I can consistently say I have played since I have downloaded them both many, many years ago.
That's fair.
So, yeah, they have kept my time, kept my attention. So, definitely best in my opinion, as opposed to most hated. As much as something like Diablo Immortal just utterly disgusts me, I can't really muster any hatred for it, probably because and Clockwork's probably going to call a hit out on me for saying this. I've never really been a fan of Diablo as a franchise. So yeah, I will await the Assassins. But yeah, probably the only mobile game that I have both spent money on and stopped playing was Fire Emblem Heroes. And as much as I love Fire Emblem as a franchise, I just could not keep playing that game at all.
That.
Yeah.
I get that. I suppose it's my turn. And I'll second Pokemon Go. It was one of the first things I downloaded on my smartphone when I could. I was a little late to the smartphone game. So once I could play, I did, and I had a lot of fun because it's a very simple game that I can just kind of pick up and play when I want to and set down when I want to. And it's good fun. And most hated, I think I'll echo Fire Emblem Heroes because, like, oh, yeah, there's like, Fire Emblem can be really good games, and I really, really liked Awakening, so I was really excited. I pre-registered for Fire Emblem Heroes and very quickly made some pretty good teams. And the story got dumber as it went, and the mechanics were just and the gacha is literally one of the worst gachas I've ever seen put to game form. So, yeah, no, I'll second that. And yes, I confess, I put money on that one too. So I'm not a proud snack. Very defeated one. I gave up around the time book 3 was coming out in the story because I realized, oh my god, it's book 2 again, but for emo kids.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's where we all kind of bounced out of it.
Yeah, and no, there's a lot of nuance to this discussion for sure. And I want everyone who has listened to us thus far, leave a comment down below telling us the answer for yourselves. What was your favorite mobile game? What one do you still play to this day? Do you get your butt routinely kicked in Ascension by Cog? Do you catch Pokemon? Like, let us know. Do you have the Stockholm Syndrome that is Fate Grand Order? Let us know down below. And thank you for joining us in this new format. And also tell us what you think of the new format, this more open, topic-driven conversation. And we're going to try to have as many bros each week as possible, and we're going to see what we can do. And you guys let us know how we're doing, because we're here to entertain you. So this has been the Hipster Snick, joined by Clockwork, Cog, Taku, and Noodle. Say goodnight, gentlemen.
Like, subscribe, and all that stuff, too.
Like, commend, subscribe.
Yes.
Better hit that like, subscribe. Also, the ninjas after you too. After Noodle's done for.
Fair enough.
Tell your friends, tell your moms, tell your grandmoms.
Clockwork goes, fair enough, as he's taking out his phone to order the assassination. But thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye-bye.
Later.
Thank you for listening to the Tomodachi Bros Review Podcast, produced and recorded by the Hipster Snick, Taku, and Cog. Sound design and editing by executive producer Sean Taylor Brown with Cog Sound Engineering. Music written and performed by Sean Taylor Brown with Costas Voss of Core Insight Studio on the drums. We hope you enjoyed this episode. See you next time.